Steve, a month into the season, this was a one-horse race for Rookie of the Year. It was Jayden Daniels, and everybody else was a couple miles back. Bo Nix has closed the gap. Personally, I believe Brock Bowers has as well, and he's my personal front runner.
89, baby!
Yes, I believe you called that several weeks ago, Steve. I believe it was 3 weeks ago we did a breakdown on Brock Bowers, that he was the next Travis Kelce. Right now he's second in the NFL in catches. He's ninth in yards. He's looking to shatter every single rookie tight end record. But Bo Nix, he is surely in the conversation. I was at this game on Sunday against the Falcons. We know the Falcons don't have a very good pass rush. They were banged up in the secondary. But Bo Nix is the first rookie ever to complete over 80% of their passes in a game with 4 touchdowns, no picks, and over 300 yards. No rookies ever had a stat line like that.
Ever.
And this has continued really since week 4, Steve. He's been playing outstanding. You know Sean Payton's offense. We all thought this was a good fit in the skill set that Bo Nix has. But has this surpassed?
I have to interject.
Interject away.
Based off what I've seen from Sean Payton and Bo Nix and Jared Stidham when they were battling out in the preseason, I didn't think that Bo Nix looked really good. I didn't think that offense looked really good. I didn't think the offense, the first 2 weeks, I thought they were really kind of took a step back. I thought Bo Nix started to look like how he was looking at Auburn, not the Bo Nix that played at Oregon. Now he's looking like the Bo Nix that played at Oregon, and he's looking like the guy who possibly should have been picked higher. I have to just call it how I see it. Man, he's playing damn good football. And I'm surprised as everyone. And not because I'm a hater. It has to do with just sometimes when you're watching a game, you're like, bro, what are they doing? And now I have to say the same thing. What are they doing? Because they hid all of this from us the first couple of weeks. We did not see this explosion, this precision, the way he's scrambling, all the different things he's doing. This is the Bo Nix when he transferred to Oregon that you said, wow, put him in the race, put him in possibly the Heisman race, put him in the situation of the conversation of national championships, put him in the playoffs. And all of a sudden, man, he looked like a little, second-year player, right?
Yeah.
That's just comfortable, understands what his responsibilities are, understands how and what he's doing. And they're running a football, too. And they're running it with people you don't expect to run a football. It's going really good. Troy Franklin's starting to get involved. My guy Mims is getting involved again. And then Cortland Sutton is getting involved. It's pretty good. And then my University of Utah guy
I was waiting for it.
Is getting involved. We're critical of Sean Payton because you expect instant results, and we all jump to conclusions, and now we have to take a step back and say, hey, hats off to you, nickel for the insult, Sean Payton. Great job.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think anything anybody was saying was out of turn by any stretch because of what you said.
I just had to own it, though.
Yeah.
I
think everybody should own it because it was I was at the majority of these training camp practices, Steve. It was neck and neck. The majority of them, you could say Jarrett Stidham won the day. And so it wasn't like Bo Nix came out of camp and was gangbusters and everything. You're right, he does look like a second-year player. I mean, maybe spending 42 years in college helps you when you want to come into the NFL with that number of starts. I think it's beneficial.
Well, that means Cam Rising has a chance. That means Cam Rising has a chance because he's 50 then.
Exactly. But that is the one thing.
Trying to get a 10th year in college.
And so, listen, Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix both had a ton of starts. What are we seeing from these two quarterbacks? There's a lot of poise. There's a lot of comfortability. Yeah. There's a lot of patience, a lot of ability to play in these moments and not be overwhelmed by the league right out of the gate. And maybe their college career played a part in that, Steve.
I also believe what you're saying just made me think about that when you said it, is not the NIL money situation. I believe it has to do with the different, when you go from one coach to another coach, there obviously expectations, personality, coaching styles are different. So it allows them to be coached differently, to be able to experience something that they're not familiar with, get a little bit uncomfortable, not familiar with being around everything that you have to experience in the NFL, right? You have to experience being coached, being talked down to, being pat on the back, sometimes being ignored, right? Having to prove yourself and work hard. All those little small things that you generally don't do when you're especially a quarterback in one team for a long time. You start to go, well, I know Coach Rick, he likes cookies, so I'm going to brown nose him. I'm going to give him his apples. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. All of a sudden now you have to learn and adapt and figure out how do you socialize and put yourself in a position that I don't have to make them my friends. I have to learn how they do things to fit in. So I believe that is really helping some of these young guys, because Jayden Daniels playing at Arizona State with the head coach and looking at, there was a number. Ricky Pearsall was at Arizona. There's a number of different players that were at Arizona State with Jayden Daniels that people don't even realize. And these young men, in the grand scheme of things, I think some of these guys take the opportunity and it grows them and they take advantage of them. And there's some other guys who have been on 4 or 5 teams, and there's a reason why. And those things starts to ooze, and it starts to, you can smell it on them, what's going on. It's not the school, it's them. And I'm starting to see that and starting to realize that. And I believe that is an indication of why some of these young quarterbacks, and even some of these young players, are able to transition a little bit better than some, because they've experienced a little bit of adulthood that some of these young kids haven't.
Steve, that's why I love doing this show, because this is the inside, kind of in the weeds here about football and about the process that I don't think you get a whole lot of places. Because I was having this conversation with a coach this week where it was, when a guy plays in college in one system his whole college career.
We didn't talk about this, so I want to pat myself on the back.
100%. This is just off the cuff.
I've been lifting too. I look sexy in my.
Oftentimes, there is an unknown, right, Steve? Like, he can play well in that system, but that's the only system I've seen him play in. I don't know if he can operate in our system. Talk about a corner. Say a corner comes out in the first round.
I give you a receiver. I'll give you a receiver right now that was in Sean Payton's offense.
What's going on? James Palmer here. And let's get real for a second. You see the underdog graphics flying in and out of the show 89 with Steve Smith and myself. Well, you're probably wondering, what are these? Well, what they are is it gives you an opportunity to participate, to start playing. You can use the promo code UD89. You can scan the QR code and you can start playing instantly. Dive right in and you can win $1,000 bonus cash like that. You just got to pick higher or lower. So remember, scan that QR code. Use that promo code UD89. What we do here at 89, we give you analysis, we give you breakdowns, we give you the news. We love that you're here. We love that you're watching us and hanging out with us. But now, when you do this, you get an opportunity to find out if we actually know what we're talking about.
Remember Robert Meacham from Tennessee? Mm-hmm. He was with New Orleans. I remember they were trying to get him to play. He plays okay. They went on to San Diego, signed him in free agency. Man, they loved him so good. They cut him mid-season. And where did he go right back to?
Sean Payton.
Right on back to New Orleans and started back over there, because not everybody, just because you're in a good system, does not mean you know how to play outside of that system.
Exactly, and that's what makes the draft process so difficult at times. When these kids play in one system for 4 years, say you're a corner coming out of Iowa or something like that, you know that system, the organization knows you know that system, but can you learn what we want you to do? That's an unknown. But when a guy's played in multiple systems in college, you can see them operate in different things. That's why difficult situations, and change sometimes is valuable to some of these teams, where they go, I've seen him in multiple situations. He can do this. Because there is a little bit of an unknown. If a guy thrived doing just one thing, can he do what we want him to do? That's part of the draft process to try to figure out.
And in that draft process, that's why you got to ask the good questions and not ask those little softball questions. I'll give you an example. I was at one of the pro days, and one of the agents was like, hey, Steve, can you talk to one of my young guys, right? And I'm not going to name the young man, but I will tell you the situation that we experienced. So I asked this kid, I said, hey, what's good about your game? This is what he said. He was like, yo, Mr. Smith, respect, I appreciate it. He says, yeah, I'm like a DC. I was like, oh, okay. A defensive coordinator? He was like, yeah, I'm like a defensive coordinator out there. He plays safety. I'm like a defensive coordinator. I could tell you. I said, all right, cool. So he gave me the best. I always like to ask the other question. So what do you need to work on your game? He says, well, in the pros, I know I need to work on route recognition and understanding alignments. I said, hold the phone. Not phone with a P, phone with an F. Hold the phone.
Hold the phone.
I said, son, I know you've been schooled and given interview questions and how to answer. I said, don't tell nobody that ever again.
Tell your agent he's giving you the wrong answers.
I said, you can't say you're a DC and then the next question, your answer is, I need to route. That's your job as a defensive coordinator, is route recognition. And what I'm bringing this up to say that sometimes this process, you don't know if a guy is being fed or told until you get him away from his folk. Mm-hmm. You put him into the room. You put him under that 48 hours. Where were you at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning? Right? You put them under that microscope, and boy, they will fold like a cheap lawn chair, or they will soar like the eagles. So you just need to ask them and be able to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. I mean, I had some kids didn't even know how to use the remote.
Oh, so they're watching a lot of film.
They're watching no, because here's why. You know what film they're watching? They're watching on an iPad.
Yeah.
They're watching on their phones versus sitting in front of TV and getting lost in the sauce, baby. Trying to perfect their craft because they are spoon-fed and done so many things for them. Do they know how to be professional? Remember what we talked about? Must be intelligent and mature to handle the playbook and NFL environment. You know what the NFL environment means? Honing in your craft, being a professional. You are an independent contractor that can and shall only work in 32 cities. Not the city you want to work in, but the city that you have a certificate in and they allow you. But in that contract, it says if you are not in shape, if you don't do it, they have the right to terminate your contract. That's why this is all good. I know we went off the rail, but
no, I'm going to circle it back, Steve, because I'm going to circle this back, and this comes full circle. Sean Payton ran in a very elaborate process in evaluating these quarterbacks.
Yeah, he did.
What he put on them mentally when they made their visit to the facility was more than a quarterback can handle, more than most any quarterback.
He does that on purpose.
Guys can handle, and does it on purpose to see what you can do. Bo Nix checked all those boxes for him. And talking to guys in that locker room on Sunday, and I've been around this team some, obviously living here in Denver, Bo is ultra competitive. He lets everybody else around him know that he hates to lose. He's never leaving the facility. He's usually the last one there, sitting there with his actual remote, Steve, while he's sitting there going over everything.
Like that.
He's wired the way Sean Payton wanted him to be wired. For what did you mention? The NFL environment? That's what he's thriving in right now. It's just why you mentioned that he looks like a second-year quarterback right now. And he's seeing it quicker. Obviously, Sean schemes it very well for him. But he's having the ability, as I talked to Garrett Bowles, their left tackle, he's like, I don't know what he has, but it's special. Like, I can't even put my finger on it, but there's something about him that allows him to go out and do this. And when I asked Troy Franklin, who was with him at Oregon, I go, is he in the Rookie of the Year conversation? You know what he said? Man, a few words. He goes, look at the stats, watch the tape. That's all he said. So Bo Nix is playing really, really well. Devon Vele, your guy from Utah, has been coming on outstanding as a rookie. Sean Payton's relying on these young guys, and he's getting protected up front. If he's getting protected, he's in a decent spot. I've talked to guys, I remember Pep Hamilton telling me this. Who was he with, Steve, at the start of their career? I think it was Andrew Luck. I think it was Justin Herbert. He's been with some of these guys that their career started out. He goes, 100 times out of 100, you pick the good offensive line over the good skill guys if you had to pick one or the other in your rookie season. The Broncos have a decent offensive line. A lot of people don't know outside of Cortland Sutton who any of these skill guys are, but he's getting protected and he's getting a chance to go through progressions and getting a chance to throw the football, and he's accurate with it. And so we're getting a chance to see Bo Nix really flourish here, and it's starting to snowball with the confidence. And guys in that locker room have rallied around him, and it's been kind of fun to see a rookie kind of take over a team in the right way. I'm not dogging Caleb Williams in this sense, but they made him earn the leadership role. It wasn't handed to him immediately. And oftentimes in certain buildings, when you have to win the battle, it helps you in the long run to earn the spot.
Yeah, each organization goes about it a different way.
Very much so.
And so you can't really knock how they do it. You only can really look at the results, and then after the fact, you can have all the answers after that. But also too is called the FBI, which is football intelligence. You must have good football intelligence to learn with few reps. Man, a lot of young guys struggle with trying to advance their game with very few reps. You don't understand. A lot of guys don't really improve during the season because it's week to week on the game plan, not week to week on improving your footwork and this and that. So everything that you have to do, you got to do it after practice or before practice. It's all really outside. It's that profession. You have to do it after hours, not when you have to be in the building. It's when you choose to be in the building. And sound like Bo Nix is doing that.
And I think to wrap this up, Steve, it's perfect to mention that because he had limited reps in camp because he was going through a quarterback battle. So he spent a lot of this time on his own, and compound that with Sean Payton's offense, which more or less changes personnel groups, I don't know, every single play. Formations change almost every single play. There's a lot on a quarterback's plate, and they've played relatively clean through most of the season in terms of, penalties, pre-snap penalties, things like that. His operation has been very good of a complex offense.
It's been cleaner.
We'll see. It's been cleaner, yes. And so it's been impressive of Bo Nix. Steve and I probably both have Brock Bowers as the front runner for Rookie of the Year, but that's just what we do at 89.
89.